Okay, hello everyone. It's me Ravindra Dakar, and today I'm going to discuss about business cultures in both Japan and Finland and how to do business in both of these countries by understanding business cultures, its basic overview, and so on. So let's get started. Okay, before analyzing business culture of any country, we must have to know a basic overview of this country. We have to know its capital, its working mechanism, its major culture, and so on. So let's get started by understanding basic overview of Japan and Finland. Talking about the Japan, it is located in Eastern Asia. With approximately 14,000 islands. Its capital is Tokyo, and population is approximately 125 million people, which is very densely populated country. And talking about the language, Japanese is major language and widely spoken in industry. But English is also taught in schools and campuses. But in workplaces and business, Japanese is majorly spoken. So one must have basic knowledge of Japanese if you want to do business here. And talking about the economy, they are the global leaders of technology, automation, and innovation. Various companies such as Sony, Panasonic, they are all from Japan. So they have contributed huge amount uh, to this world for in terms of technology and innovative products. Talking about the currency, Japanese yen is the major currency of this country. And talking about the climate, it has a temperate climate with four distinct seasons: summer, autumn, winter, spring, and they are also famous for cherry blossoming and mountainous terrains. And talking about Finland, on the other hand, it is located in northern Europe, which is bordered by Sweden in the west, Russia in the east, and Norway in the north. It is a Schengen country, and its capital is Helsinki, and it is also the part of EU, so its currency is euro. And talking about the language, Finnish and Swedish are the major language, whereas Finnish is widely spoken among people, but English is also widely spoken in business and workplaces. So if you are coming from a business, English-speaking country and targeting English-speaking country, then Finland can be a better option in comparison to Japan. But if we are targeting in terms of population, then Japan can be a better option because we will have more opportunity there since population is also very much more in comparison to Finland. Talking about the climate, Finland is known for its long winters and harsh winters, dark nights, and we would not see sun for quite a few months during winter. And talking about the summertime, the sun doesn't go down. So if you are coming from a Mediterranean climate or very hot country, or from countries such as Nepal, India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh, then it will be a major challenge for you to adjust during winter. But with the time, you can adjust in this country. Okay, since we discussed basic overview of both countries, Japan and Finland, now let's understand business cultures. And we're understanding business culture using Hofstede dimension. Since Hofstede has developed six dimension, according to which we could understand and analyze cultural differences among various countries. So he has developed six dimensions, which are as follows. They are power distance, individualism, motivation towards achievement and success, uncertainty, avoidance, long-term orientation, and indulgence. And we are using this dimension in order to understand and analyze business culture. So let's get started. Here, the red part indicates Japan and blue part indicates Finland. Okay. Since we discussed about offset dimension in our previous slide, and one of the dimension is power distance, and we are analyzing cultural differences and business cultures among Japan and Finland using the power distance first. Actually, power distance measures how much a society accepts unequal power distribution among people. Talking about Japan, from the image also we can see that Japan is high power distance country, meaning hierarchical structure is both widely valued in both society and business. Here, seniority and rank are very important, and formal communication is often used, and formal titles are often used for respecting their seniors. Not only that, it is also very common for young people here to defer to their seniors, and they are also obliged to agree with their seniors' decision regardless of their personal consciences as well. So if you want to do if you want to do business in this kind of country, we must make sure that we address our senior with respect, and we must use formal titles, and we must avoid using any direct confrontation so that they do not get offended. If you keep in mind this kind of things, then we might be successful in doing business in this kind of country. And while talking about Finland, it is quite opposite of Japan. That is a low power distance country. Here, workplace emphasizes equality, collaboration, inclusiveness, and so on. Not only that, your first name is also quite widely used for calling our seniors or juniors, no matter what. Your communication is often informal and open. Your employees are encouraged to share their feedback so that it will help them in company management and decision planning and so on. So if you want to do business in such kind of country, then we must avoid using any formal language. We must make sure that employees are let free and open to share their opinions, and this kind of society believes on inclusiveness and collaboration and equality. So since we discussed about Japan and Finland on the basis of our distance, now we discuss business cultures among Japan and Finland on the basis of another dimension, which is also very important. Okay, another important offset cultural dimension is individualism versus collectivism. Okay, talking about Japan, Japan is an collectivist country, meaning Japan emphasizes group harmony and collective success. Decisions are often made through consensus to maintain unity. Here, employees prioritize the needs of group over personal goals, and loyalty to the company and team is highly valued here. Here, relationship and trust building is crucial for long-term partnerships. Business negotiation may take longer, as for mutual understanding is a priority rather than short-term goals or short-term gains. So, if you are doing business in this kind of country, be patient, respectful, show commitment to the group, and focus on building trust and lasting relationship rather than short-term goals. And talking about Finland, Finland is an individualistic country, meaning they value personal responsibility and independence. Here, employees are encouraged to express their opinions openly. Business practices are often direct and goal-oriented, and decisions are often made quickly and based on logic rather than relationship or group consensus. Here, personal achievements are recognized and rewarded, while workplace collaboration remains essential. So if we are doing business in this kind of country, so we must be straightforward. We should respect individual contribution and focus on clear communication and efficient decision making rather than on relationship. They believe on logic. So if we are doing business in this kind of country, we must keep in mind about this kind of things. So for the further part, my friend will continue. So this was for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Rabindra Dagal, for explaining the overview of Japan and Finland and giving some insight about the power distance and the individualism and collectivism. So these are all falls under the Hofstede dimension. So for the next, while doing the business between Japan and Finland, it is important to know about the uncertainty avoidance. So what exactly is uncertainty avoidance? So we can think of it as a society's comfort level with ambiguity and the risk, like the culture with high uncertainty avoidance basically love structures, clear rules and planning. They like to control the things as much as possible, and on the other hand, the lower moderate uncertainty avoidance cultures are okay with the flexibility, and they can move along with the spontaneity, and they can adapt to the environment as they move forward in the business settings. So the major difference between the uncertainty avoidance of these two countries are like Japan has a high uncertainty avoidance. And so what can we understand from this point? So, which this basically means that the people there basically prefer structure and stability, and they don't leave much to chance and take careful steps to avoid the risk. So I can also give an example for this to you so that you can easily understand what exactly this means. For example, in business, Japanese clients like expect the individual to be extremely well prepared. Like they want everything to be planned out, and they don't want any surprises or no any contracts or any risks that could associated with their documents and other things. So this is all about how Japan views the uncertainty avoidance. So it has the high uncertainty avoidance, and also the decision making time in Japan is kind of low, and also it is a deliberate process because they doesn't want anything to be left out, and they want everyone consensus so that they can reach to their final point. And if you are doing a business in Japan, if you are negotiating a business deal in Japan, so there is one tips to you. So like you need to present a detailed plan, and like you need to be and you need to anticipate every possible questions that will be asked to you in the interview while dealing in the business, so that there are not any kind of ambiguity and the risks are associated to your business. So this is all about Japan. And if we talk about Finland, Finland has a moderate approach to uncertainty avoidance. Basically, yes, they value structures and fairness, but they are not kind of overly rigid about it. Like in Finland, people are kind of more practical, and they doesn't want any quick fixes, although rather they want the well thought out solution in Finland. And they have the kind of flexible approaches to rules. They doesn't have a kind of strict adherence to rules like as in Japan, so where everything to need to be like strict, everything need to be in a proper manner, structured manner. And another thing is about the time. Well, time is another big thing in Finland. Like you need to be very punctual. Punctuality is must in Finland. Like if you have a meeting at 10, you must be there at 10. Like there isn't any excuses. It's like the way of respecting the time as well as each other people in the meeting for the Finnish people. And another thing is about like Finnish companies basically do things by calculating the risk, especially when it comes to sustainability and the technologies. Like they are cautious, and of course they are cautious, but they are not afraid to innovate if the decision like comes to their favor. Like if the decision has the long-term potential, they are okay to participate, and they are okay to take steps into that kind of business settings. So this is all about the uncertainty avoidance between the Japan and Finland. So from this we can conclude that while Japan has high uncertainty avoidance and there you need to be strict, while in Finland you can be flexible, you can move along with the time, you can understand the scenario, the value structure, but they are not openly rigid about it. So this is all about the cultural views on uncertainty. And another thing is about the cultural orientation. So what is about the long term and short term perspective? Comparing the long term and short term perspective. So it is important to know about what long term orientation and short term orientation basically means. So let's start with the long-term orientation. So basically the culture with the long-term orientation focus on the patience and persistence and planning for the future, and they doesn't want the quick and the short-term gains, rather they want the long-term rewards. So on the other hand, the low long-term orientation culture basically prioritize the immediate results and instant gratification and the short-term wins. So if we compare with these two countries, Japan has a kind of the long-term goals, patience and persistence, and they basically emphasize the perseverance and the future rewards. Like basically they don't rush into the decisions. Like instead they take a strategic approach that ensures that ensure the long-term approaches. And there is the importance of traditions, and they value the long-term commitments and tradition. And also this mindset is kind of like important in business too. For example, when negotiating with the Japanese partners, you should understand that you shouldn't expect like quick agreements. Like in other countries, like if you are negotiating a business deal with the members of other companies, you may expect a quick agreement. But in Japan, like this is completely different. Like instead you need to focus on building the trust and fostering the long-term relationship. Don't expect the short-term gains. Okay, so this is one tips if you are doing the business in Japan. So if you are like working with the Japanese clients, like the colleagues, so that you are in it for the long haul, not for the short term. So this will create a kind of strong bond in communication with the individual or with the company. So now let's move on to the Finland. Like Finland has a kind of moderate, it has a kind of moderate to the long term kind of the orientation, low long high moderate to high long term orientation, meaning that well, they value the future planning and sustainable growth, but with a slightly different twist than compared to Japan. Like Finnish culture, like is kind of more practical. Like business people focus on the actionable results, and that could basically benefits the people in the present time as well as in the future time. For example, like I can give you an example too. For example, Finnish companies are keen to basically adapt the new technologies that could improve the efficiency now. while so we need to understand this, so while reducing the cost over time. So this is another aspect of how Finland view the low long-term orientation approach. So this is also important to know if you are doing the business in Japan, in as well as in Finland. And another thing about Finns are like they are great like at adapting to the changing condition, meaning that their approaches to long-term orientation can be more flexible if they want that these things can benefits in the long run. They basically plan for the future, but they don't want the planning become like a rigid or slow them down. So this is all about the long-term orientation and short-term orientation approach of both Japan and Finland. And well, adaptability in Finland, you can easily adapt to the changing circumstances, as I've already told you. And the decision making is also it hindered the decision making. Well, hinder in the sense that it doesn't like provide the negative outcomes, but the decision can be quite sometimes quite slow. But they do the strategic planning while doing the kind of business. Okay, so okay, another thing, the most important thing about while doing the business in between Japan and Finland, it is about the motivation towards achievement and success. It is about the masculine and the feminine culture. Well, in Japan, we can experience like you can experience a masculine culture. It means that success is tied basically to the collective agreement and the long-term progress. They believe in persistence and working together to achieve goals over time. Competitive and success-driven approach they follow, and they emphasize on achievement and performance. While in Finland, it is quite opposite. Like success is measured by practical outcomes and sustainable achievement. Like they value the efficiency and results to ensure that the progress can benefit not only to a particular person but as a whole to every person in the long run. Well, in both cases, we can consider that success is deeply tied to long-term thinking, but Japan leans kind of more on relationship and collective effort, where basically Finland kind of emphasize the practicality and kind of adaptability. So this is all about the masculine and feminine culture between the Japan and Finland. So we can from this overall understanding, we can make we can summarize one thing. So Japan represent the epitome of the high long-term orientation. They focus on persistence, patience, and building the trust over time, while Finland combines a moderate to high long-term perspective with practicability and flexibility, which makes you that the decisions are kind of sustainable and forward-thinking. Okay, so another cultural dimensions provided by the upstate model is about the restraints and indulgence. So what exactly is restraint and what exactly is indulgence? So self-discipline versus enjoyment. Like in Japan, it is important to be self-disciplined. It is important to maintain your to maintain the things, to maintain the nature in your work. Like while you are at work, you need to adhere by the laws. So you shouldn't like in Finland, like basically there is a kind of balance between the work as well as the leisure activities. Like there is people who enjoy the time. The working life is a kind of life they experience during the working hours, and the enjoyment hours is different. So from this point of view, we can understand that Japan basically emphasize lower on gratification, and while in Finland we have a kind of a freedom of expression. Like there is a kind of fun parties. They go to a kind of different kind of parties, clubs during the free time. Like they value that not only work is important, but also the enjoyment is also important. So this is about the Japan and Finland. So it is important to know that in Finland we value the freedom, we value the fun, while in Japan they also value, but you need to be more adhere to the discipline, self-discipline in in the working culture, and there isn't a lot of about the fun and leisure activities ongoing in Japan. Well, this is about the um, important aspect you need to know about the Japan and Finland, and another is about the reactive communication and the linear active communication. So this is also an important aspect to understand when dealing with the business between these two countries. So we have in Japan we have the reactive communication. That means in Japan people listen to others. People listen to others. First they listen carefully, and everyone try to reach to a consensus. There is a harmony. They try to respect to the upper individual. They try to respect to the leaders, managers, and they doesn't disagree to the situations. They doesn't basically disagree to the any kind of decisions that are made, because the decisions are mainly made with the consensus, and they first listen to the others people. And mainly there is a high context and the listening oriented approach in Japan, so that's why we can consider it as a reactive communication. And in Finland we have the linear communication. So linear communication basically means that if you have something in your mind, you will freely tell those things to others. So there is not any like hesitation. If you don't find something that is in the favor of the company, you can easily tell like, oh no, that isn't a good deal. So there is something mistake here. So that means the communication is explicit and straightforward. So the individuals doesn't hesitate to provide their perception, to their thinking to others come. So that's why there is a kind of like direct communication in Finland. So if you are doing business in Japan, you need to listen others, and doesn't like always talk, and doesn't always disagree with them. You can of course disagree, but rather you will be listening, and you will try to keep the harmony between each other. While in Finland, you will basically, if you have any problem, if you don't find anything in the favor of the positive favor, then you can easily tell, and you can explicitly and straightforwardly you can questions the leaders, the managers. So there isn't what but there isn't any like there isn't any kind of bad thing about that. Like, this is a norms, this is a culture. That's why we are studying this cultural dimension here about these two models. Well, this is all about the Japan and Finland, the important aspect of the Hall's high context and low context, and the linear reactive communication style. So the final point, if you are doing business in Japan, formal greeting is important. Bow, customary informal setting, you will try to respect to the seniors. Seniors are considered as the main person, the main individual in the whole organization. So it is important to show the respect, to bow to them. Formal greeting is important, and business attire, like you need to wear the formal dress code. So you'll be given a kind of, in a particular company there is a kind of a formal dress code, and you need to you need to wear those dress code, and it is a kind of conservative too. And in Finland, a firm handshake is enough. Like, if you are meeting someone for the first time, you can do like firm handshake, and like you need to have a proper eye contact. So it is important to have a proper eye contact with Finns. So even I have experienced this thing in Finland while studying. Like, Finnish people are like straightforward. They try to love to maintain eye contact, and whenever you are meeting to them, they want to do the firm handshake. So in Finland, this is important. And another thing is the dress code. Like, smart casual is widely accepted. Like in Japan, like, you have a kind of a formal dress code in a particular company. For each particular company, you have formal dress code. But in Finland, dress code isn't that mandatory. Like, a formal is like, it is kind of informal, but it should be, of course, casual. But it isn't like you shouldn't be you shouldn't it isn't like strictly um it isn't like mandatory to wear a formal dress code in Finland. So and another is the importance of custom, respecting custom. Basically, this applies to both countries. You must respect the customs. That will definitely helps to build the relationship between these two countries. Okay, so I have already explained about these things, cultural meeting styles. So in Japan, you need to there is the formal meeting. There will be there will be always the structured agendas, and that will guide you to the discussion. And in there will be the decision making will be consensus. So all the people will be participated in the decision making, so decisions are made collectively. And informal meetings are common in Finland, like open discussion are basically encouraged in Finland. And personal input is highly valued. That is most important to understand. Like if you have anything in your mind, just explain that things to other members. Like there isn't anything to hesitate about it. So personal input is kind of highly valued, and recognizing the difference leads to the productive collaboration. Of course, if you understand the difference between each of the individual, if different individual give the different perception, this will of course helps to reach to the goals effectively. This will always maintain the collaboration, and overall this will helps to prepare a good business attire in the company. So so the final thing is about the we have discussed about the upstairs dimensions, and we have also discussed about the communication style, and the business etiquettes, and how we can how we can basically use these dimensions and communication style in the business while negotiating a business deal, so that we can easily so that we can easily get acquainted in those business culture in those cultural countries. So this is all about the comparison between the Japan and Finland. So the respect is must, so the collaboration is must. Yeah, so like it is for every country, like respecting to others is mandatory in every country. So collaboration is must, which this will basically this will always emphasize the positivity in the company. This will always emphasize, this is always leads to the positive outcomes. So this is all about the communication cultural business culture between the Japan and Finland. And thank you for viewing this presentation till end. Okay, I would like to hand over I would like to end this presentation here. Thank you.